Solitude is often misunderstood. It is seen as a state of deprivation, a place where you lack the comfort and warmth of companionship. But what if solitude is not something to fear, but something to embrace? The time spent alone is a gift, a unique opportunity to explore the depths of your own mind, to understand your desires, passions, and fears without external distractions. In the silence, you meet yourself in ways you never would when surrounded by the noise of others. Solitude, when approached with the right mindset, becomes a powerful tool for self-discovery. When you are alone, you are forced to face yourself in ways that might be uncomfortable. There's no one to hide behind, no one to lean on, no one to validate your feelings. The mirror in front of you reflects not just your physical appearance, but your inner world. Your thoughts, your desires, your habits, all come to the surface. At first, this can be unnerving. We are so used to seeking external validation, to defining ourselves through the opinions of others, that the thought of looking inward can feel foreign. But this is where true self-discovery begins. In solitude, you begin to understand what drives you, what excites you, and what holds you back. You learn to listen to your own voice, to trust your instincts, and to recognize the patterns in your thinking. You become aware of your strengths, your weaknesses, and the areas where you need to grow. No one else can tell you who you are or what you should be doing with your life. In solitude, you get to decide. You gain the clarity to see what truly matters to you without being influenced by the expectations of society or the opinions of others. As you spend more time alone, you begin to realize that self-discovery isn't just about understanding your passions or interests. It's about understanding your values and your purpose. What kind of person do you want to be? What do you stand for? These questions become clearer when there's no one around to distract you from them. You stop chasing after things that don't align with your true self and start focusing on what genuinely brings you fulfillment. Solitude also reveals the importance of your own inner dialogue. The way you speak to yourself, the thoughts that run through your mind, shapes your reality. It is in these quiet moments alone that you get to hear your own voice and hopefully reframe it into one that is compassionate and supportive. In solitude, you have the space to change the way you talk to yourself, to heal old wounds, and to build a foundation of self-love and self-respect. But self-discovery is not a linear process. It's not always easy to confront the truths that emerge in solitude. There will be moments of discomfort, times when you feel lost or uncertain. However, these are the moments that shape you. It is through confronting the parts of yourself that you'd rather ignore that you grow stronger. Solitude forces you to confront the things you have been running from, and in doing so, you begin to shed the layers of insecurity and doubt that have held you back for so long. The journey of self-discovery is an ongoing process. It's not something that happens overnight. But with every moment of solitude, you come closer to understanding who you truly are. In a world that often demands that we seek external approval, solitude gives you the opportunity to create your own validation, to live life on your own terms. You stop searching for answers in others and start looking within. You begin to realize that you don't need anyone else to define your worth. The answers were always inside you. In these quiet, solitary moments, you realize that you are enough just as you are. You are not defined by your relationships or by what others think of you. You are defined by the way you see yourself, by the way you treat yourself, and by the love you cultivate from within. Solitude, then, is not something to fear, but a powerful tool for discovering who you truly are. Independence is often celebrated as a virtue, yet in many ways, it's misunderstood as simply being able to do things alone. It's much deeper than that. Independence is not about rejecting the need for others. It's about finding the strength within yourself to navigate life, regardless of external circumstances. True independence lies in having the ability to stand firm in who you are, to make decisions based on your own convictions, and to walk your path even when the world around you might try to push you in different directions. It's about mastering the art of self-sufficiency, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. When you rely on others for validation, your sense of self-worth becomes fragile. You might feel strong when surrounded by friends or family, but when those people aren't around, what's left? Independence requires a sense of internal stability, a belief that you are capable of handling whatever life throws at you, even in moments of doubt or fear. It's about learning to trust yourself, to believe in your ability to solve problems, and to not let external circumstances dictate your peace of mind. An independent person knows how to handle setbacks and challenges with resilience. When things go wrong, they don't look to others for support or validation. Instead, they turn inward and find the strength to push through. This internal resilience is built over time, through a process of trial and error, through moments of discomfort where you learn that you are capable of more than you originally believed. Independence is not about avoiding struggles. It's about embracing them and understanding that they are opportunities for growth. Each setback, each failure becomes a chance to prove to yourself that you can rise above it. Furthermore, independence is deeply connected to self-responsibility. When you stand on your own, you no longer place the blame for your circumstances on others. You understand that you are the architect of your own life. Your actions, decisions, and mindset shape your reality. This level of accountability is empowering. It gives you control over your life and helps you realize that no one else can take away your power unless you allow them to. When you take full responsibility for your choices and your reactions, you stop being a passive participant in your own life. You become the creator of your own destiny, making decisions that are in line with your true desires, not based on what others expect of you. In the pursuit of independence, there is also a deep sense of self-discipline that emerges. Being independent means being able to make decisions based on what's best for you, even when it's not the easy choice. It requires the courage to stand up for what you believe in, even when it's unpopular. Independence calls for setting boundaries and respecting your own needs, not because it isolates you, but because it empowers you to create a life that's aligned with your values. This sense of self-discipline allows you to maintain focus on your goals, stay true to your vision, and make progress even when there's no one around to cheer you on. It's easy to assume that independence is a lonely journey, but in truth, it's the opposite. Independence frees you from the need to rely on others for validation or happiness. Once you embrace your own power, you can form relationships that are rooted in mutual respect and love, not dependence or neediness. You no longer look to others to fill a void. Instead, you enter relationships as a whole person, ready to offer support, love, and care because you are already whole. Independence allows you to choose your companions based on shared values and deep connections, not out of necessity or loneliness. Finally, true independence means being comfortable in your own company. It's about learning how to find peace within yourself, to be content even when there's no one around. Independence is not about isolation. It's about creating a space within yourself where you can always return, regardless of the circumstances. It's about being at peace with who you are, knowing that you can stand on your own 2 feet and thrive even if the world around you changes. The beauty of independence is that it doesn't just make you stronger, it makes you free. It gives you the freedom to live life on your terms, to be unapologetically yourself, and to navigate the world with confidence and grace. Self-reliance is the cornerstone of true strength. It's not just about handling tasks on your own. It's about developing an unwavering belief in your own ability to face challenges, solve problems, and navigate life's unpredictable journey. In a world that often tells you to seek help or depend on others, self-reliance calls for a shift in perspective. The realization that you are the most reliable source of support, encouragement, and solutions in your own life. When you cultivate self-reliance, you free yourself from the limitations imposed by external circumstances and people. You become the person who is always there for yourself, regardless of the ups and downs that come your way. The journey of self-reliance begins with a deep understanding of your own capabilities. Many people underestimate their ability to handle tough situations simply because they haven't been given the chance to prove it to themselves. Often, people find comfort in relying on others, seeking reassurance from friends, family, or colleagues. While these relationships are important, self-reliance teaches you that you don't have to depend on others to move forward or to make decisions. You have the tools you need within yourself to solve problems, take action, and create your own success. The moment you recognize this truth, you unlock a world of possibilities and begin to move through life with a sense of empowerment and purpose. Self-reliance doesn't mean you have to do everything by yourself. It doesn't mean you can't seek advice or support when necessary. It means that you trust yourself enough to make decisions, even when they're difficult, and to take responsibility for the outcomes. It's about building confidence in your ability to assess a situation, make a choice, and trust that regardless of the result, you have the strength and resilience to handle whatever comes next. This confidence doesn't come overnight, and it doesn't come without practice. It is a muscle that needs to be strengthened with every decision you make, no matter how big or small. As you embrace self-reliance, you begin to trust in your own judgment and instincts. There will be times when the advice of others is valuable, but relying on others for every decision can often lead to confusion or hesitation. Self-reliance means learning to listen to your own inner voice, to weigh your options, and to act with conviction. It's about silencing the doubts and fears that often arise when you're left to make a choice alone, and trusting that you are capable of handling the consequences, good or bad. The more you lean into this self-trust, the more confident and assured you become, allowing you to move forward with greater clarity. Another key aspect of self-reliance is taking full responsibility for your life. When you rely on others, it's easy to blame external circumstances or people when things go wrong. But when you are self-reliant, you accept full accountability for your choices. You realize that you have the power to create your own reality, that your actions directly influence the direction of your life. This mindset is empowering because it removes the power from outside forces and places it squarely in your hands. You stop waiting for someone else to solve your problems and start taking proactive steps to create the life you want. Self-reliance also teaches you the importance of resilience. Life is full of obstacles, and it's inevitable that at some point you will face setbacks or failures. In these moments, relying on yourself is not about ignoring your emotions or pretending that things are easy. It's about acknowledging the difficulty, understanding that failure is a part of growth, and then taking the necessary steps to move forward. Self-reliance enables you to view challenges as opportunities for growth rather than insurmountable roadblocks. You understand that even in your lowest moments, you have the strength to rise again and continue on your path. As you develop self-reliance, you also become more resourceful. You learn to make do with what you have, to solve problems with creativity and ingenuity. The ability to be resourceful is an essential trait of self-reliance because it helps you adapt to changing circumstances and find solutions even in situations that seem impossible. Whether it's figuring out how to fix a broken relationship, solving a financial problem, or navigating a career setback, resourcefulness allows you to approach challenges with confidence and a clear mindset. It teaches you that you are never truly helpless. because you always have the ability to create a solution no matter how difficult a situation may seem. Ultimately, self-reliance gives you the power to take control of your life and live on your own terms. It empowers you to make decisions based on your values, not on the expectations of others. It helps you build the resilience and inner strength to face whatever comes your way, knowing that you have the capability to handle it. When you are self-reliant, you are no longer dependent on the approval or support of others. Instead, you trust yourself and your own abilities to navigate the challenges of life with confidence and determination. Vulnerability is often seen as a weakness in a world that glorifies strength and resilience. We are taught to keep our guard up, to present a version of ourselves that is flawless and unshakable. But in reality, vulnerability is one of the most powerful traits a person can embrace. It's not about being fragile or exposed, it's about allowing yourself to be seen for who you truly are, without the masks or pretenses. When you are vulnerable, you open the door to genuine connection, personal growth, and healing. It's in those moments of raw honesty where we allow ourselves to be fully human that we find true strength. For a man with no friends, vulnerability becomes a challenge because it's easy to convince yourself that you must remain closed off. After all, what if others see your weaknesses? What if they judge you or turn their backs on you? These fears are rooted in the idea that vulnerability will lead to rejection. But the truth is, vulnerability is an invitation, not for others to hurt you, but for them to truly see you. And when you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you give others the chance to connect with you in ways that go beyond superficiality. Vulnerability creates a space where trust can flourish, where people can feel safe enough to open up as well. It's a way to build deeper, more meaningful relationships, not based on perfection, but on authenticity. The fear of being vulnerable often stems from the belief that we are not enough as we are. We think that we must present a certain image of success or strength in order to be accepted. But vulnerability teaches us that it is precisely through our imperfections that we can connect with others. No one can relate to perfection. It's our struggles, our flaws, our insecurities, and our pain that make us human. And when we share those pieces of ourselves, we invite others to do the same. It's in these moments of vulnerability that we discover we are not alone, that others share similar experiences and emotions. Vulnerability is the bridge that connects us to the people around us, creating bonds that go beyond the surface. Another powerful aspect of vulnerability is its role in self-acceptance. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you are accepting yourself for who you truly are, flaws and all. You are no longer hiding behind a facade or pretending to be something you're not. You're saying, this is me, this is all of me, and I am worthy of love and respect just as I am. This is an act of immense self-compassion because it's not easy to accept ourselves when we feel broken or vulnerability requires a deep level of self-love and courage. It's about acknowledging that you don't have to be perfect to be worthy of connection and understanding. Moreover, vulnerability is a key ingredient in emotional healing. We all carry pain, emotional wounds, past traumas, regrets, and disappointments. These wounds fester when kept hidden and unaddressed. Vulnerability allows us to bring those wounds into the light, to face them head-on, and to begin the process of healing. It's not about airing your grievances for the sake of attention or sympathy. It's about allowing yourself to feel and process the emotions that have been buried deep inside. When you embrace vulnerability, you give yourself the opportunity to heal, to let go of the past, and to move forward with a renewed sense of peace. Being vulnerable also means letting go of the need for control. We often fear that if we open ourselves up to others, we will be hurt or abandoned. But vulnerability is an act of surrender. It's about releasing the fear that holds us back and trusting that the right people will accept us for who we are. It's about acknowledging that while we can control the actions or opinions of others, we can control how we show up in the world. Vulnerability is a choice to show up authentically without the armor or the walls that protect us from the possibility of hurt. And in doing so, we allow ourselves to experience the fullness of life, the joy, the connection, and even the pain, knowing that it is all part of being fully alive. In the context of a man with no friends, vulnerability is the key to transforming isolation into connection. It's the willingness to let go of the pride and fear that keep you distant and to open yourself up to the possibility of building genuine relationships. Vulnerability allows you to show others who you truly are, not just the version of yourself you think they want to see. And when you take that step, you create the potential for real friendship, for real connection, where both parties can share their true selves without fear of judgment or rejection. It's in these moments of vulnerability that friendships are born, because it's only when you allow yourself to be fully seen that others can see you for who you truly are and choose to walk alongside you. Loneliness is a feeling that many people experience at some point in their lives, but it doesn't have to define us. When you find yourself isolated, especially as a man without friends, it can seem as though the world around you is moving forward while you're left standing still. However, rather than seeing loneliness as a burden, it can be a powerful tool for transformation. When you allow yourself to lean into loneliness rather than run from it, you start to understand the depth of your own emotional landscape. You learn that being alone doesn't equate to being broken, and that solitude can be the most liberating experience if you know how to use it wisely. In moments of loneliness, many people feel the instinct to fill the void, whether through distractions, superficial interactions, or chasing temporary pleasures. But these distractions only provide a fleeting sense of relief. In contrast, true empowerment comes when you decide to face loneliness head on and use it as a period of self-reflection and growth. When you are alone, you are presented with an opportunity to learn more about yourself than you ever could in the noise of constant social interaction. You have the space to explore your thoughts, emotions, and dreams without the influence of others. This space gives you the ability to reconnect with your inner self, to understand your true desires, values, and aspirations, and to heal from past wounds that might still be lingering within. The truth is that loneliness can teach you more about self-reliance than any other experience. It's during these times that you realize that the greatest source of fulfillment doesn't come from others, but from within. When you learn to enjoy your own company and take pride in your own presence, you begin to build a foundation of self-love that is unwavering. This foundation is the one thing that no one can take away from you, no matter what happens in your external world. Self-reliance is the key to turning loneliness into a source of power. You stop looking to others to validate your existence and start realizing that you are enough just as you are. Another powerful lesson that loneliness teaches is the importance of quality over quantity in relationships. In a world that often prioritizes the number of friends or connections you have, loneliness can remind you that it's not the number of people around you that matters, but the depth of your relationships. A few meaningful connections built on trust, understanding, and mutual respect are far more valuable than having dozens of superficial acquaintances. When you have no one around you, you are given the space to reflect on the kind of people you want to invite into your life. This time allows you to carefully consider the relationships you cultivate and the energy you allow into your world. It's an opportunity to redefine what friendship means to you, to set boundaries and to focus on building relationships that nourish your soul. Loneliness also teaches patience and the value of timing. It's easy to get frustrated when you feel disconnected, when you see others around you building friendships or finding love. But loneliness helps you realize that not every relationship is meant to happen right away. Sometimes we need to learn to wait, for the right people to come into our lives. People who truly align with who we are and the life we want to create. Loneliness teaches you to trust the process and to believe that everything happens in its own time. You begin to appreciate the importance of timing, of meeting the right people when you're in the right place and when you're ready to receive what they have to offer. Moreover, loneliness can encourage introspection that leads to personal development. When you're alone, there's no one to distract you from the parts of yourself that need growth. You have the time and space to reflect on your past, acknowledge your mistakes, and learn from them. It's an opportunity to address any unresolved issues from the past, whether they're related to relationships, career, or personal identity. When you take the time to examine the reasons behind your loneliness, you may uncover patterns or beliefs that have kept you isolated. By recognizing these patterns, you can take steps to change them, to heal, and to grow. This introspective journey often leads to breakthroughs that you wouldn't have achieved had you remained surrounded by people. Loneliness is also a reminder that external circumstances don't define our happiness. It's easy to think that happiness is tied to relationships, social status, or achievements, but the true source of happiness lies within us. Being alone allows you to discover that your happiness is not dependent on others, but on your ability to find peace within yourself. The more you embrace loneliness, the more you realize that you don't need external validation to feel complete. Instead, you find contentment in your own growth, your own progress, and the simple pleasures that life offers. This realization shifts your entire perspective on what it means to be happy, freeing you from the need for constant external affirmation. Finally, loneliness offers a chance for self-empowerment. It forces you to face the truth about your life and your choices, pushing you to take full responsibility for your well-being. When you are alone, you are the one in control of your life. You are responsible for your happiness, your growth, and your future. No one else can fill the void for you, and no one can change your circumstances unless you take action. This realization is empowering because it reminds you that you have the ability to shape your own destiny. Resilience is the ability to withstand adversity, to recover from challenges, and to keep moving forward in the face of difficulties. It's a characteristic that becomes especially important when navigating the life of someone who feels disconnected or isolated, like a man without friends. In the absence of a support system, resilience becomes the internal strength that allows you to push through moments of doubt, loneliness, and despair. It's about tapping into a deep well of determination and refusing to let circumstances define your future. Resilience is not just about surviving, it's about growing stronger in the process, learning from each hardship, and emerging from setbacks more capable than before. The foundation of resilience lies in how we view challenges. For many, the absence of friends and the feeling of isolation can feel like a deep personal failure, a sign that something is wrong with them. But resilient individuals understand that hardships are not reflective of their worth. They are simply a part of the human experience. Rather than seeing struggles as obstacles that stand in their way, resilient people view them as opportunities to learn and grow. When faced with loneliness or the absence of friendships, the resilient person uses that time to build emotional and mental strength. They know that adversity is not permanent. It's a phase that will eventually pass, leaving them stronger and wiser. One of the key components of resilience is adaptability. Life is full of unexpected changes, and the ability to adapt to those changes is critical. When you find yourself without friends, it might initially seem like your world has shrunk, that your options are limited. However, resilient people understand that their circumstances can change. They are open to new experiences and are willing to step outside their comfort zones to create new opportunities. Rather than getting stuck in a rut, they look for ways to adapt, whether it's by developing new skills, exploring new hobbies, or seeking out different social groups. Adaptability allows them to turn what could feel like a negative situation into a launching pad for personal growth and discovery. Resilience also requires emotional regulation, the ability to manage emotions in a healthy way, even when faced with stress, sadness, or frustration. A person without friends may feel the sting of loneliness or rejection, but resilience teaches them how to process those emotions without letting them take over. Rather than burying their feelings or becoming overwhelmed by them, resilient people acknowledge their emotions and choose how to respond. This emotional awareness allows them to stay grounded and focused, even in moments of vulnerability. Resilience is not about suppressing emotions, but learning how to navigate them in a way that doesn't derail progress or hinder personal growth. Building resilience also involves cultivating a sense of hope and optimism. When faced with loneliness, it's easy to fall into despair and believe that things will never change. But resilient individuals refuse to give up hope. They maintain a positive outlook, trusting that better days are ahead and that the future holds new possibilities. This optimism is not blind or naive. It is rooted in the belief that challenges are temporary and that change is always possible. Resilient people believe in their own ability to overcome obstacles and emerge from difficult times stronger than before. They carry this belief with them even when things seem bleak, and they allow it to fuel their actions and decisions. A strong sense of purpose is another important aspect of resilience. People who are connected to their values and who have a clear sense of direction are more resilient because they understand why they keep going even when things are tough. For someone who feels disconnected from others, finding a sense of purpose can be a powerful tool for building resilience. This might mean setting personal goals, pursuing passions, or working towards something greater than oneself. When you have a purpose, you are motivated to push through difficult moments because you understand that the pain or loneliness you feel now is part of a larger journey. A sense of purpose gives life meaning, and this meaning can provide the strength to overcome adversity. Resilience also requires the ability to practice self-compassion. When you find yourself without friends, it's easy to become self-critical, to believe that you are unworthy of connection or that there's something wrong with you. But resilient individuals understand that they are not defined by their current circumstances. They recognize that it's okay to struggle, to feel lonely, or to go through difficult periods. Rather than beating themselves up, they offer themselves the same kindness and understanding that they would offer to a friend. Self-compassion allows them to accept their feelings without judgment, helping them move forward with a sense of grace and understanding. Finally, resilience is built through action. It's easy to get stuck in a cycle of negative thinking, but resilient people don't allow themselves to remain passive in the face of challenges. Instead, they take action, no matter how small. Whether it's reaching out to someone new, developing a new skill, or taking time for self-care, they understand that action is the antidote to helplessness. Resilience is not just about enduring hardship. It's about actively working to improve your situation and to grow from the experience. It's about making the decision to keep going, to take the next step, even when you don't feel like it, and to trust that each action brings you closer to healing and fulfillment. In the end, resilience is a skill that can be developed over time. It requires practice, patience, and a willingness to face challenges head-on. A man without friends may experience a great deal of loneliness and isolation, but with resilience, these feelings do not have to define him. Instead, he can use this time to develop the inner strength, adaptability, and emotional awareness that will carry him through not only this period of isolation, but any adversity that comes his way.